Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. I'm your host Migs here with my co-host Charlie, and we're back with a jam-packed episode. There was tons of reveals, tons of announcements, and I cannot wait to talk about them.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. All right, with that being said, let's chat.
All right, let's chat. We're ready for episode 70, and this is a pretty good episode, milestone episode, I guess, right? And
Yeah,
it's packed. Like we have tons of stuff. I know we obviously missed a week, so there's extra stuff that we want to talk about, but there was so much stuff that was basically revealed and announced. A lot of it's going to be under this like licensing expo that Funko was in, and a lot of stuff leaked. I feel like it happens every year, but they have no way of kind of stopping this because people take pictures and you're kind of screwed at that point. So Funko like slowly started dropping some of these things officially, but we're gonna run through all these things because there's so much stuff. There's another NFT rumored list as well, which we're gonna talk
yes.
about later, which that thing is so sick. But we'll just jump right into it. I guess we could start off with like that licensing expo stuff. So there's this like it's in Vegas that every year they have this thing with big brands and licensing stuff. And I feel like every year there's that one page, Las Vegas Funko Pop
Yeah.
something that happens to be there, takes pictures, and then drops all these pictures, and all the disc trackers and Funko finders and everyone just blow up all their stuff. So we can start off with that because there was a ton of stuff ranging from all different types of fandoms, which some stuff got us really excited because there was some sick stuff in there. Because what's good about it is it's not just a name on a list anymore. Now we're getting a picture of what it actually looks like, and some of these things look even better than others, and some don't. So it kind of, we can go back and forth, but you can start off with something that, right away on that list that you liked, or that you saw that was revealed.
Yeah, for me, it was you finally saw in the flesh the Ted Lasso pops.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen them in person. There have been like, rendering pictures, but we've only seen those con ones. But we've gotten like everything, every basically main character that you want in a Funko Pop for the most part is now being made. This line is actually much bigger than I would have anticipated, which as a huge fan, I'm happy about. I think it took them a little long, for them to finally come out, which is maybe why this line is
Yeah.
so big. I kind of wish they kind of like spread it out a little bit, but I don't mind. Like there's a Chase, there's a Target exclusive, there's an Earth exclusive. Like there's everything you want. So I'll be getting every single one of these pops. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I've been doing
Yeah.
pretty good. Kind of been going slower, but like this, I need them all. So
I figured you did, because I was like, this line, like I was surprised. We saw like that first initial like leak like thing
yeah,
during the con where they were like, all right, Telasso's gonna have pops, and it was like a basic common set of like five or whatever. And you're like, all right, cool, that makes sense. There's obviously more characters, like Charlie said, that you can use, but they came out with a bunch of different characters, and then they came out with exclusive versions of certain ones. They did it from what I see. I didn't finish the entire show, but based off of just the way they look, they did a great job of like showing a different version or different outfit or a different moment
yes.
from the show in pop form, which is pretty cool. With the different exclusives and stuff, of course, like you said. But yeah, it's a pretty big line, and they probably have even some more pops of their
I
sleeve
think so.
in this line. So it's interesting. Obviously, it's a big show, but initially I was a little surprised because I thought it would have been a show that maybe they would just come out with a few here and there, but they're taking advantage of the popularity of it, I guess,
Yeah.
and like really coming out with a bunch of them.
Which is interesting because like there's a pop puzzle of Ted Lasso. Funko Games has a Ted
Mm-hmm.
Lasso game. It's just kind of funny that they've hit so many. There's sodas, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there is those two con pops, but it's crazy. The last line of Funko brands that they decided to like officially make stuff was the pop line that wasn't con exclusives, which is wild, which means they probably do well. I'm assuming
Yeah.
the sodas have done well for them, even the obscure stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
can talk all day about Ted Lasso. So, if you haven't watched that show, what are you doing? So, go watch it.
Yeah, and like you said with the sodas, now that there's obviously more. They've only made what, two
Too.
different
Yeah.
characters, so obviously they can continue making sodas now and not only make pops. But obviously that's something that they're going to continue to do. Um, Another one I got to talk about right away. Obviously, I just was amazed that we finally got to see some of this stuff like in person. And one of them was, of course, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, had to give it to you.
We've been talking about that for so long that we know there's going to be stuff coming out. And then we did see like a bad album as a pop album coming out, which I was surprised. And I was like, okay. Then I think there was a rumor that there's going to be Off the Wall as
Yep.
a pop album. And I was like, where's the Thriller? How is there not Thriller? That just doesn't make sense. So now we officially saw the Thriller album. I'm I definitely have to get that. It looks super awesome. Like obviously, the album artwork and then just him like laying back as a pop as well. Like the mold is sick. And then we got the first look of an actual Michael Jackson solo pop that's going to be coming
Yes.
out, which is also very iconic. And him, arms out, the white shirt blowing, which is super awesome. Black or white video, I'm assuming is where that exactly is from because I know he wears pretty much that same like outfit during that, but who knows? But I think it's awesome. I know now I was looking into like the whole like estate that MJ, and then it says I forgot what the name of it. There's a certain name of the estate. It's like under like the brand that it's under, the licensing brand, I mean, that it's under, which is considered like his
Yeah.
estate basically. So obviously we know the news of the past where they pulled everything off of Funko, and now obviously maybe money talks. I don't know, but we're back into getting some Michael Jackson's up. So I'm very excited for that, and it was cool to see like what they look like, because again, the original OG grails are stuff that are pretty much untouchable at this point. So I'm happy with just getting this, especially that pop out one. I think it's fire.
I completely agree. Like his album covers in general are just kind of iconic, even if you're not a huge fan. Like as we've talked about multiple times, we like that line, but sometimes I see ones that they announce, even ones that they
Yeah,
just announced that I like question. Like these are a must.
yeah,
Like I even feel like if you've never had this any of these lines, you're a Michael Jackson fan, like this is the one to get.
yeah,
I'm like super, super excited for those.
yeah. 100%.
Keeping the music going. We had rumored this before, but we officially saw the new Ed Sheeran pop,
Hmm.
which I'm a huge fan of Ed Sheeran and I'm a fan of this pop. A lot of people are like shitting on it, but it's just funny. Like it looks like what he looks like, in my opinion, in pop form in the Bad Habits video. Like no one can tell me otherwise that it doesn't look like him. I
I
know a
think
lot of people are
I think it's
saying
the
that it
people
doesn't,
that don't know he was like in that outfit, makeup, and everything in the video. That's probably why I think people are like, "What the hell is this?"
which is
Because I
fair.
would assume that would be the only reason why you really would question it if you don't know that. No, that's not just a normal version of Ed Sheeran.
Totally fine. It's just like I actually think it's like super cool because not that like Ed Sheeran or many artists have like numerous iconic looks like you can do for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done that for Britney Spears, which works.
Hmm.
What I have said, the second Funko Pop that they're ever gonna make of Ed Sheeran would be this. Probably not, but I actually think it's like was an outside of the box type thing. They're like, okay, we can make this look completely different than like the Ed Sheeran that already exists, rather than how they do a lot of times with musicians, just keep pumping out the exact same pop
Yeah.
that they just change the color of the shirt. So like I actually, if anyone from Funko ever does listen, I give you a round of applause for this Funko Pop, even if people are hating on it, because I love it.
Yeah. No, I agree. It definitely looks weird, but I think honestly, the reason why I say it looks weird is the same reason why I would say I thought he looked weird in the video. Like I remember that video being coming out
Yes,
and being like, "What
it's
the heck? It
weird.
looks so weird." But it literally is, like you said, it's what he looks like in the video. So it's not like they're not doing a good representation of it. They clearly are. But yes, 100% agree. Where I do like this type of style, where it obviously fits well with musicians, the ones that have looks and outfits in certain videos, and it's different than just your standard, looking one. You usually, if you're gonna make a pop of this person, it's better to do that. Now, like I guess to kind of relate it to something on the opposite end, like Snoop Dogg. Obviously, Snoop Dogg right now is
Yeah,
all over Funko, right? He doesn't necessarily have a specific look on a specific video, but he does wear different outfits and he's a fan of certain teams. So they're able to kind of change up his look and still
yeah,
come out with a different version of him, but it's basically him, right? Now, Ed Sheeran is a pretty basic looking guy.
agreed.
Like if you just put him with a guitar and just put him with another guitar, like it would almost be the same pop. And I understand they got to do something different. And if it's already there for the taking, like he did a music video where he's clearly dressed differently, do the music video. So clearly it makes sense. And it does it is the I don't know if we've seen like the full box art or anything, but is the back like say bad habits? I'm assuming there's got to be something that kind of ties
I
to
would
that.
hope it does. I haven't seen
Yeah.
the back of the box. I've been trying to
Yeah.
actually find this. I even went to Hot Topic
That
today to
way
try
would
to
make
find this
even more
pop.
sense. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's coming out already, right?
yeah.
Or some
And it has
places
a
have it.
PX exclusive, a diamond edition. Like it's funny.
Yes.
I will get it just because I love Ed Sheeran, but I don't think they needed to make. It's a weird thing to have like a diamond version of,
Yeah. I mean, I think diamond versions in general usually are terrible, especially when they're like of people. I just
and a
think
PX
it's
exclusive for Ed Sheeran. Like it's weird. I feel
yeah,
like that's
I
normally
don't
like
know.
comic booky type stuff.
Yeah, it is kind of a random one. The next one that was something that I was very, very excited for was we're getting new Crow Pops. Absolutely love the movie. I have the actual OG one just over here. Um, and they're coming out with three different ones. So
Yeah,
it is interesting because there was this one original one. Um, and then is there a glow in the dark version?
I think
For some reason,
so.
I'm thinking there is like a super grail version, but I think that was it. It was basically the same mold though. But we don't have any other ones. So obviously, it's been years that the movie came out, and let alone the pop came out. Um, and now we're getting new ones. So it's pretty interesting. It's cool. I like the molds. They are a little different. Obviously, they kind of, a little bit more newer, updated. The older one was a little more, of the OG style of Funko Pops. But we're getting one with him. Like he's like up on like a pillar type of thing. He's standing up against like a building or something. So which is pretty cool because there's more than just him. Obviously, he has like crows with him. Then there's like a sick one with him with like the guitar hanging out the back while he's like walking. It's a very motion, just
Yeah,
awesome. And then there's a standard one with him literally just standing out with his arms out, which is literally the old one. Like after I
you're
saw
right.
it, I looked back at my original one and I was like, they just redid that. And it's like that one's terrible. So like I'm not gonna get that. It doesn't make sense. I obviously have the OG one, but I love the other two. They also are under like Eric Draven, which obviously was his name. The soda that came out was also under Eric
Yeah,
Draven. So I wonder if there's a reason to that because the old one says the Crow, which clearly was the name of the movie, but also like he was, considered that. But there's got to be I'm assuming like a reason, or unless they just want to do something different. But yeah, all the new stuff has been just strictly under the actual name of the character. But yeah, this one's sick. I don't know if if you're a Crow fan or if you think the
I
same,
mean,
but
I think I like Crow not as a fandom as much as you. I think they look sick. I do find it interesting they're coming out with three.
yeah,
Like it
especially
to me, it's a little
that regular
overkill.
one makes no
Yeah,
sense.
it makes no sense. I don't know if these were kind of in production when they thought the new movie was going to be coming out. Like it's just weird to make three, but I mean, I'm not going to complain, especially if you're a huge fan. It's like
Hmm.
you don't really have many Crow Funko Pops, so besides that Grail, so why not?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
one's a Funko Shop exclusive to the one where
yes.
he's like standing on the thing. Yeah.
Another thing that they announced, which I'm like a little indifferent about it because I'm a Star Trek fan, but I mean, it's gonna go with under the comic book covers, it's like a
Hmm.
magazine. I don't understand why they keep making these for things that like don't necessarily need them. Like this is cool and Spock is actually my favorite character, but like I just don't know why they keep making these because unless you're like a diehard fan, and maybe that is really what they're still going for, I feel like people aren't buying these and they end up becoming like super cheap on Amazon. We find them at Marshalls or like they're just trying to give them away.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it was a good idea when it started. And now, like Funko, what they always do is they just blow everything out of proportion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those, I think like they're coming out with too many of them. So like you said, it's not the smallest size piece. So like not
No.
everyone's gonna get every single one all the time. It's very similar to like the albums, but they don't come out as many of those. And these are also ones that you're starting to see, like you said, in stores. Like my Target, so like my local Target, there's a brand new local Target that I have actually. Their Funko section is very small. There's barely anything there. There's literally no sodas ever. And there's like a few pops here and there, and then they have two shelves of like the the moment size, like the Star Wars and like
Yep.
those, with like 50 versions of the same one over and over again. And then the bottom shelf is just stacked with the comic covers. And it's like a
Yeah.
bunch of these ones that recently were just coming out, and there's just a bunch of them because they're not selling. People just don't grab them. Like even some of the ones that are legit more of a comic booky one than this one, like you said, and they're still just not selling. They're just like, I think it's way more niche in the sense of like you have to be a really big fan of that
Yep.
specific like character or that comic or whatever it may be, but not everyone's really grabbing them. And like you said, they'll end up going on clearance or they'll just kind of sit there and just collect dust. And I think they just have done way too many of these, and it's just it
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know. It's not working. And this is another one. I don't think it's like you said, if you're a big hardcore fan, maybe, but I don't think it was necessary, necessarily, for them to do it.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Um, so we can continue with like music actually, because there was a
Yeah.
ton. Like I know I wanted to bring up some more music stuff. So there was a couple like you said, pop albums that were announced. There's a Shakira, some Mariah Carey. There was actually a regular Shakira pop even that was announced. Um, just
Yep.
whatever. There's already another Mariah Carey. Obviously, we had the Christmas one. Now we're getting this other version. We're getting a Shakira one. With Shakira one, I think is just a little random. Like to me, I don't know. Maybe I'm assuming you think the same way, but to
Yeah.
me, when they come out with these pop albums, like they need to be like albums that are like considered amazing albums or like that are like super well known worldwide type thing. And that, not to say that like Shakira is not a big deal, and obviously Mariah Carey's not a very super talented person, but I don't, it's very niche in that sense. I think those are just going to sit. I mean, I know there's some hardcore fans of these people. Like I've seen some people that I follow on Instagram and they're very excited about it. But overall, like to make this, I think it's just kind of like, I don't know.
I mean, I completely agree with you. And I hate to say, and I may contradict myself because one thing I've always said about Funko is how much I love that they do make stuff for everyone. But I
Hmm.
do think we're getting into a point in their growth as a company that they need to slow down on this type of stuff. And like, this is a perfect thing to like just not make because I'm agreeing with you that it's not an iconic album. It's probably Shakira's best album,
Hmm.
but it's not like an iconic album. Like, and I don't want to be stereotypical, but I feel like the average Shakira fan is not a Funko Pop collector.
Yeah.
Um, and even if they're a huge fan, they would love to have this. They probably don't even know it exists because
Yeah.
it's not like Shakira is someone who's like saying that she has a new Funko Pop on her Instagram page, or it's not in like the official Shakira store. You know what I mean? I think they need to get away from these if it's not like a Michael Jackson.
Yeah. And I think like you said, like I'm assuming if I'm not wrong, these probably are a little more expensive to make.
Yeah, they
Like
have to be.
obviously they're doing the same vinyl pop, whatever, but then they have that thick acrylic case, like it's a lot bigger. So I would assume it's got to be a little bit pricier. So like I waste so much money on certain things like this and the comic covers, like you said, like those just should not be where they're wasting their money. And it's like they are.
Yeah, like it's I don't know. And it's just interesting. I'm curious how easy it is to get some of the licenses for some of these artists. Is it part of I'm getting all this talent that belongs to a record label? Because like I think I've said this in the past, but Funko should be
Yeah.
doing everything in their power to get Taylor Swift Funko Pops.
Yeah, there's certain like people that like, is it because of the record label or is it like there's got to be a reason? But I don't know. Like I said, they have another Shakira pop, and they've obviously made Mariah Carey, so like they have these, so it makes sense like why they would just be like, all right, let's just make one of them because they've kind of already had that license or something of it. But I think it's a little bit of
It's
waste.
just such a funny. I have to tell a story about the Mariah Carey Christmas like album.
Mhm.
I legitimately saw that in Marshalls, like when it first basically came out. It's almost
Yeah,
like a store was like, "Yeah, we don't need this inventory," and like Marshalls bought it. Like it's just I found that funny. I've never seen any Funko Pop in a Marshalls, TJ Maxx that wasn't like lived its life
yeah.
already. I like was like, yeah, this is trash. But I found that funny. But something that is not trash that I was so pumped when I saw these was Family Matter Funko Pops.
Yeah.
That is like one of my all-time favorite shows. When I saw these, I was like, what? I do think it's a little, we probably are getting them because of the WB 100. I wish that wasn't what was on the
Yeah, that's what the
box.
box says. I
It's
hate
like,
that.
I hate it. Like, I wish it was the Family Matters logo. They're actually doing that with like a lot. I feel like they're making some cool properties like this, but if you're not like a fan and don't know the character's name, you may not even know what this is unless you see the back of the box. I've noticed that with another few ones
Mhm.
that they recently announced for the WB 100. I want to get these, or at least the Steve Urkel one,
Yeah.
but I'm pumped that they make these.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And this is like one of those lines, like Funko hasn't done this often, but like here and there, it'll happen where there's a line that comes out, and I'm just like, why did I never think about this specific show being a line? Because like I always,
Agreed.
people always, especially when you meet new collectors or you go on people's lives or podcasts, whatever it may be, and a lot of times they ask you like, what's a line that you wish they should make? And you're always on the spot, and it's so hard to think of things. But then something like this comes out, and you're like, dude, that would totally have been something I would have said because I
Completely agree.
100% agree that Family Matters was such an iconic show, and like we grew up on it.
Yeah,
And Steve Urkel himself is such a big, character. So like that not and him not ever having a pop is kind of crazy. And it's cool that now we're getting that and it's as a line. I like that it's doing it as a line. I wish it was just under Family Matters and we actually got that awesome looking logo
yeah,
versus this WB thing, which is kind of like, yeah. But I still think it's like you said, it's a super cool line. Definitely the Urkel one would probably be something I would really want. Um, they're kind of missing the opportunity of having like the Urkel and make the chase him as
Stefan.
as the fawn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like
agree.
that's like perfect if you do,
That's like
you
probably
know.
too insider even for them, but that would have been
Yeah.
amazing. It's just so funny because he's actually the actor who is Steve Urkel.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in one of the new Star Wars Disney Plus shows. So this guy's probably gonna go from never thinking
Really?
he'd ever have a Funko Pop to having two Funko Pops
Oh, that would
probably
be
within a
cool.
year. It's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
and he's really kind of been gone. You haven't really seen
Yeah,
him like at all. So it's interesting he's gonna be coming back for something like that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's definitely an awesome line. There was a ton of sports stuff as well, and one of the ones that I definitely wanted to talk about first because we've talked about it before, and I screamed to Funko that I needed to make this, and we finally got to see what it looks like. The F1 Pop Ride was
Yes.
finally shown. It's one of the Red Bull racers, so from Team Red Bull, it was Checo. So he actually is which I thought was odd that hits him that's coming out as the first one for the pop ride because like I was saying he's not even like the best racer on his team. For anyone that follows F1, obviously his teammates Max Verstappen, who's essentially one of the best racers right now. He's won the last 2 years, so he's pretty sick, and he's only like 25 or 26. Um, but it's awesome because the car looks sick. You got all the logos on it. The details. If you watch
Are
racing at
good.
all and you know about it, the details are spot on. Like they made the car look amazing. And I always thought it was just perfect because those racers are sitting in a cockpit kind of a car where their head is exposed. I hated the NASCAR ones because even though like the NASCAR part, the car looked cool, like the guy's head coming out of the hood roof of the car was like stupid, right? Like it was just
Yeah.
didn't make sense. It's like this is like obviously you shouldn't be making these because and it's pretty popular now. It's getting even more popular, especially in the US. Obviously it's a worldwide sport, but in the US they're now, Miami made it really popular, and now Vegas this year is gonna have a race, which is gonna be
Yeah.
even crazier.
Celebrities go.
Tons of celebrities. Like it's a big money sport for sure. Like it's very
Yeah.
expensive, and you got to be pretty wealthy to be like those hardcore fans. But yeah, I think it's sick. I think they did announce a Max Verstappen solo one, so we are getting some more of the individual racers, which I know we only got the two the first time, but this thing is super awesome. I 100% would want to get this. I mean, he has the same last name as me as well, Perez. So, but I'm not like the biggest Red Bull fan, but this is something that because it's the first one, regardless, I would get that one, and then hopefully they make more of the other racers, which I think would be awesome. Like this
Yeah.
should just drop them all. Like that would just be fire. I don't know why they're waiting. I guess maybe they're testing it out to see if these really sell. The first two, like the Lewis Hamilton and the Bottas one, like they sold pretty good. So I would assume that if these come out and they drop and they sell, they should see that okay, they're pretty popular, and then hopefully we get some more soon. I don't want them to wait because guys change teams and stuff, and that's kind of what happened with the Mercedes guy. He's not even on a team anymore.
I
So
know. It's just they have that problem with sports in general.
yeah,
Like I don't know why they can't like get ahead of the curve, and it's like not that hard. It's like you legitimately just change the coloring paint
yeah, the
on
molds are usually
the
almost all the
same
same.
thing.
Yeah,
Drives me crazy because I just feel like they're never gonna get that under control.
yeah,
Because like I even look at like, are we really not gonna get an Aaron Rodgers Jets Funko Pop this year? We're probably not going to because it's
yeah.
like too far down the line. But like they need to change what they're doing with sports because that stuff's always going to happen and they're always going to be like
Hmm.
a year behind and they're going to miss the hype. Not that people who are Jets fans aren't going to want Aaron Rodgers Funko Pop, hopefully the year after,
Yeah.
but now's the time to capitalize on that.
And it's funny you just said that because I was just thinking of like another football one, and it seems like that's what they do. They're usually like the next year. So like if
Yeah.
Rogers is there for a few years, year two hopefully is when then we'll see it. Like there was some other football pops, I'm sure we'll mention them later, but like Devontae Adams, speaking of
Yep.
Packers players, hard lifetime Packer almost, and now he just got traded to the Raiders last year. Now during the second season, now where we're going to get a Raiders one. So it's kind of like they waited till the end, but they should because the molds are so similar and it's really
Yeah.
just that head. They should be able to just change the bodies and paint a new number or whatever it is. But
It's crazy. I mean, I even see like they come out with like soccer Funko Pops all the time when the guys have already transferred to different teams.
yeah,
I'm just like, what? Because now it's just funny because like how long or will we get like it's funny we probably won't get another Messi Funko Pop because they don't make any MLS Funko Pops, which I find crazy.
really, I didn't even think
Yeah,
about that.
and I'm kind of like, will he be like the in where they try to get that contract now? Like I don't. I mean, he is not. This is not a sports podcast, but we like to talk about sports. He is going to change that league
Yeah.
forever as anyone knows it, especially just soccer in America. That like what is Funko should be getting that license like right now, in my opinion,
Oh,
because there's
yeah,
plenty
100%. If
of
they don't
great
have it
players.
for whatever reason, no, there's definitely plenty of players, plenty of teams. Like even if they don't do every single one, like just having a few would be
Yeah,
pretty big. And yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's only like what, like the Euro like leagues that they make in Funko Pops. I think it's soccer, except for like the US team and stuff like that. But
yeah, which they don't
you
even
know,
make men; they only
no, they
make
only make the
women.
women ones that just came out. Yeah, but it
Which,
is interesting, and I
yeah,
totally agree. Messi's gonna do what Beckham was supposed to do and didn't really do when he came over to really blow
correct.
up MLS.
That's totally right. Um, totally different non-sports Funko Pop, but I thought it was pretty cool. Disney 100, they're making a Lizzie McGuire Funko
Yeah.
Pop, and like it comes with two pops, like her and like the mini, like you've ever seen the show, like the animated version that's kind of like her head talking to her. Whether this Funko Pop is for you or not, like I give another round of applause to Funko. This is cool. Um, I never in a million years would have thought if they made a Lizzie McGuire Funko Pop, they would have added that little like addition of like the animated version. So I think it's super cool. And I know we've said the Disney 100 line is huge, but they are like hitting some pretty good beats, especially with like Disney Channel stuff, which
Mhm.
they never have made Funko Pops of.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting that that's what they're um doing it under, like as Disney 100s, because you wouldn't have thought
Yeah.
that that's the route they would go with their Disney Channel and those type of ones, but makes sense. Obviously, it's all under the same umbrella, so like it covers the span of Disney, so do it. But like you said, yeah, it's a really cool one, interesting one. It's something that like everyone for the most part at least knows of who Lizzie McGuire was, whether you
Yeah.
watched it or not. So like it's at least like a cool, like really nostalgic kind of hit with that one, with them coming out with it. But yeah, it looks awesome too, the mold. Um, I thought this one was pretty cool. So there was a few, I believe all the teams were on there. So they're going to come out with NFL Santa Pops. I don't know, did you see
Oh
those?
yeah, I did. Those are sick.
So yeah, so they're all like, which is really cool because like I said, I'm pretty sure it's every team, which would make the most sense. But like you're able to grab your team, it's a Santa Claus wearing your team, as a Santa outfit or whatever.
Yep.
And it was like all the NFL teams. So definitely really cool. Obviously, more of a holiday pop, more niche holiday, but I thought it was pretty awesome. I mean, we usually we get NFL crossovers of Christmas, like decoration wise, with different stockings, maybe with your team
Yeah.
on it and different things like that. So it makes sense, like to do something like this. We haven't really ever gotten it, but I thought it was pretty interesting to see Santa Claus and a bunch of different football teams.
I mean, I completely agree. Like, I thought it was super, like, that's another like outside of the box. And like, I mean, if you guys have been listening to podcasts, I mean, I love Christmas. So like, I know some people don't really like when they make these holiday pops, but like, these are fun. This is cool. This is actually, I feel like a great present to give someone
Hmm.
around the holiday time, even if they aren't a Funko fan. I mean, you all know someone who's like probably that diehard sports person where it's like their only interest. So like,
Yeah.
this is like such like a good, I feel like, little present to give them. So I
Hmm.
think it's cool. Um, Another one that they showed, which I thought was sick, which I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about or didn't really talk much about when it was out, was Werewolf by Night, like the Marvel
Yeah.
Halloween special. And we're getting, I think it's a small line, the three main characters. They look super cool, in my opinion. I'm really happy that they made these because I actually thought that special was pretty good. And I like that it's just three and like they'll probably call it a day. And I think it's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
don't know what your thoughts were. Did you
Yeah. It's
watch that special?
No, I actually never got to. I remember when it was coming out, I was kind of interested, and I didn't know like if I would be into it or not. I mean, I felt like I would be,
You
but
definitely would like
there
that.
was so many other things at that time that I remember like just and it just kind of fell on the back
Yeah.
burner. But I do like what they're doing here, and like you said, it's a smaller line, but it's cool. It's good that they're at least representing that show and that that actual series and stuff. So that's pretty cool that they actually did that in Funko form. So maybe not something that everyone's going to go after. Not probably the most popular. It would just be like a little bit more niche and stuff. But
Yeah.
still think it's cool that like it fits back into like what we always say, like they make everything. And they really do. So this is another thing. It's like, all right, cool. They made that too. Um, so back to some sports stuff. So I'll run through some of like the main like. So there was some MLB and some NFL stuff. Both waves. Basically, we got another new wave. We usually do this with sports. Are pretty consistent at like dropping 6 to 8 players, and like that'll be the
Yeah.
new wave. For the NFL specifically, they did a lot of newer guys. So we got Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins. So like this is another example. Like Tyreek Hill's on the Dolphins. This is the second year he's in it. Now we're getting him in Funko form. So we're getting Tyreek Hill. We're getting Devontae Adams as well on the Raiders. Cooper Cup, which I was kind of surprised we never got a Cooper Cup
I agree.
pop. So at least we're getting one of those. Jamar Chase. I love Jamar Chase. I think he's an awesome player. We're getting a Russell Wilson one. Obviously, they love Russell Wilson because he was always on the Seattle, but now he's in the Broncos. So we're getting a Broncos one of him. He's didn't have the best season. I don't know why they would make him. I guess just because they have his likeness to make. They're like, oh, let's
It's
do another
easy.
Wilson.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get a Jonathan Taylor running back from the Colts. So that's 6 that are gonna drop under this new NFL line. I'm probably gonna get a bunch of them. I collect pretty much all the football pops for the most part. Football and baseball, I usually get pretty much all of them, especially with like the big names. I'm more of a fan. I've said this in videos before unboxing. I'm more of a fan of the football pops where they don't have the helmets on, personally. Like I
Yeah.
like seeing kind of them with their face, maybe pose, maybe the hat on, that kind of stuff. I like that style usually a little bit better. Just because I think that because they have a big head and the helmet just looks odd. Um, but do the helmets come off? I've never opened up one,
I don't
but I think
think so. Not on
no,
the
I could.
new ones.
Okay. Because I think there was some
I
that
think
would
there
come
was a
off.
time where they did, like in the
Okay.
very OG, and like they're ridiculously huge and look disproportioned.
Yeah, and that's why like even these like they're really wide face masks. So it's like
Yeah.
I always thought they looked funnier than like just when you just see their face. Even if their face is big, like it fit a little bit better. Um, but then we're also getting some MLB ones as well. Which there was a Function Shop exclusive, a Julio Rodriguez one with him and like an alternate jersey, which looked really cool, doing a pretty like awesome like pose as well, which wasn't your standard just regular batting or throwing the ball. But then we're also getting a couple other ones. We're getting like a Bryce Harper. We're getting Giancarlo Stanton as a Yankee, which I kind
Why?
of don't really want that. Like we should have got like somebody else. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. So we're getting that. We're getting a Brian, Brian something. I can't remember what his last name is, but for the Pirates. But the other one for the Pirates, which I think is really cool, I wanted to mention is
Yes.
we are getting Andrew McCutchen. So on the Pirates again, this is like his second stint on the Pirates because he was on a few different teams and came back to the Pirates. But what's cool about him is that we're getting him obviously like a normal one, him in the Pirates jersey, and then we're getting a chase version. It's odd that he's the one that's doing the chase. I mean, I remember seeing him in this like he's basically like
Yes.
cool outfit with glasses, stuff like that. But it's a bit odd that this is like kind of what they chose, but it's cool. Like I do think it's like a cool looking pop, and I like that they do that. I just wish they kind of did this more, I guess, to make it more like especially bigger names. He's not necessarily the biggest name, and he's a pirate, so it's not like that's a Seattle team that you can kind of just
No,
use. So
it's
it's a little random.
weird. I think it's so random. I think it's hilarious. But do you know like so he was wearing this outfit and it was featured on like a card. Like so there's like
Uh-huh.
a Topps card, but he's wearing an old school Phillies hat, I believe, in this outfit. But
Is it?
it's
I remember him wearing the outfit. I just don't remember where. And again, like I said, he's played on different teams, so I just don't remember exactly where it
it's
came
just
from.
kind of like a fashion statement type thing, but like
Uh-huh.
they didn't put that on the hat.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to look at it again just to
I could be
see.
wrong. I just vividly remember it being weird and like it is the right color, the hat of like the old Phillies before they
Mhm.
were like red.
Unless
Um,
it's like okay, so it's like you think it's not necessarily like an old Pirates before they were like
I don't think so.
what
Like I
they
think this is
are.
just him in like normal clothes.
Yeah, it's basically like
It's like
normal
so
clothes.
random. It's hilarious. I think it's
It's funny.
hilarious.
It's
I
funny and
actually
like
love it.
yeah, that's why I said it's cool that they're doing it. It's random because like I said, I don't think he's the
I
most
think someone
popular.
may have been under the influence of something when they were coming up with ideas and they came up with this one, but it's funny.
I'm trying to find it again to get but obviously if you guys are watching, we always pop up pictures anyways. But like just for myself, I'm trying to find them, but I
I
can't
just
even
get like
find it.
sports Funko Pops frustrate
Oh,
me
here it
because
is.
like
Oh, okay, no. So there's no logo on his
there
hat.
is no logo.
No.
Okay, then I
It's
take
just a
that back.
plain, it's just a plain hat. He's got number 22. He's wearing, I mean, it's like a jersey, but his chest is open with a chain, and then he has like a foam cup, and then he has like a bandana with his hat showing and sunglasses. So
Yes.
yeah. But it's definitely like pretty awesome that it's a chase and it's completely different. He even has just a goatee in that, and in the regular common pop, he has a full
This
beard.
beard.
Yeah, so it's like literally completely different.
I mean, it's
Um,
cool. I are you gonna
Interesting,
try to
definitely
get it?
unique. Uh, I was planning on getting one of it anyways, even just the regular McCutcheon one. So I'll probably just grab one, and if it happens to be the chase, it's even cooler. But I don't know if I'm gonna get two.
Okay.
So it would probably be one of those ones that I just grab one and then just kind of see if it's a chase, and maybe I'll just stick with the chase because it's
Yeah.
common probably will be always available. But yeah, it's cool. We don't have too many chase, baseball pops. Obviously, we had that Derek Jeter one that came out, that Funko Shop
Yeah.
exclusive. But I think it's something that they should do more often because I think it's a better way of them getting it out rather than like dropping a home jersey and an away jersey as two separate pops. Like just make one of them a chase, or have the chase be, an all-star jersey or something a little different to
Yeah.
kind of like just get it more exciting.
They don't, yeah, I mean, the baseball bothers me, even the football pops. It's just funny. I know like my fandoms are big market teams, so I don't care if they're not the Yankees and or Giants. They're big enough where like there should be like I look at the Jets. The only Funko Pops they've ever made of the Jets are Sam Darnold Joe Namath, and Le'Veon Bell. There's something wrong with it. There's other players in their team they could have made. Like I don't get it.
No,
Like I and
Terrell
I even
Reeves,
yeah,
like
like
even people
what?
that were like not on the same team, but at least are like
I mean, I can name
big
off a
Jets
million players,
players.
and I'm not just saying because I like the team. Like they had stars. Like
Mhm.
even when Mark Sanchez was on the team, I mean, he almost brought me to the Super Bowl. Like the guy should have had a Funko Pop. Like, and I'm just like looking at even like, is there already a Bryce Harper pop of him on the Phillies, or is this the first one?
There is a Bryce Harper pop, but I don't know if it's with him on the Phillies.
Because I'm just
I would
like,
have to check.
really, you come up with a new line of just like a handful of pops, and like, I'm assuming there's already a Phillies one. Like, you can't make like
Him as the
another,
Phillies on
yeah,
the Phillies.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there was, but I
You
don't
can't make another player
know.
that doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Like, it's just they don't do. I mean, we've talked about this in a million episodes. They just
But
don't
what's
do a
odd
good
about it is
job.
sometimes they will come out with a random player that hasn't been, but it'll be like a random guy, not someone
Yeah,
that you expect, and then they'll do the same guy a bunch of times. Like they kind of go one extreme or the other. It's never like a
yeah,
big
you're
name that they
right.
just haven't made yet. It's like
And
why
like,
don't you
I
just
don't
do that?
know. For a second, I really thought they were gonna go deep on like the legends line. I mean, I know Derek Jeter's
Yeah.
one of the greatest players of all time, but like that pop sold out. They haven't had
Hmm.
many sellouts as a Funko Shop exclusive in a long time. That should say something. And it's not just because it's Derek Jeter and it's the Yankees. I'm sure if you made like a Mike Piazza one, it would sell out. A Mark McGuire one, it would sell out. Like they need to start doing that more often. I feel like for all these sports
Yeah.
instead of making these like current players who like aren't like you said. I mean, they in a few years they can be on a new team, and then it's like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
weird. Like it,
I feel like with baseball is the one that they miss the most because they do
yes,
legends a lot with football. Like they will, Steve Young will come out, Joe Montana, like they'll do that. And even basketball, obviously, we're getting, we have like hardwood classics, which are like the older versions of, besides Jordan, which obviously they have a ton of, and they'll come out with some old basketball players. But with baseball, for some reason, yeah, they don't, besides Babe Ruth, which obviously,
yeah,
it's freaking Babe Ruth, but like, they don't come out with like some of those bigger names, like you said, from some of these teams. And it's just like it is odd. But the football one does kind of irk me sometimes because of the whole team thing. And like, granted, some of these players aren't changing teams every single year. Like, we don't expect them to literally just like constantly make one. But like at least like that the guy signs before the season. He's going to be
yeah.
on a team, right? It's not like someone that got traded and you're expecting them to make a pop. That would kind of be a little too of a crazy turnaround. But like Aaron Rodgers, clearly, like again, I know he just recently came on the team, and you would hope that throughout the year they would come out with one. But usually with football, I feel like they do like one wave early and then maybe another wave, and then that's it for the year. You don't really get
No,
another
you
waves.
don't.
So then like next year will be when we probably start to see some of
Because I
these.
bet you
So
the next Odell Beckham Jr. Funko Pop we get is the Rams, not the Ravens.
I
And
know,
like,
imagine. Yeah, because we
and
got the Browns one when he was in the
yeah,
damn Super Bowl with
it's
the
almost
Rams.
just like, dude, just change the paint on that Funko Pop. Like it, like we said, it's not that hard. I'm very passionate about this because I still
It
just,
is funny with the sports
they
ones.
just they don't hit it. But one thing that we've always been saying they need to do more of and more of, and they obviously started with the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
but it was a gold set, which is a little strange. I think you can still buy that at fanatics.com. And so when the Nuggets just won the NBA finals, got a 5-pack, um, which I thought was awesome. They kind of announced it like right after they won
Immediately.
immediately, which is super sick. Personally, I kind of wish they just my idea of what they should be doing, but beggars can't be choosers is better than not because they announced it immediately, but it's not like it's in stock immediately. You're gonna have to wait a long time. They should pick whoever wins the MVP, in my opinion. And you cross your fingers that Funko Pop maybe already exists, but if it doesn't, you could, like I said, it's not that hard to. It's not like the sports players like look like these people so much.
Yeah.
Like I still look like my Lindor Funko Pop is a joke. It doesn't even look like him. It's kind of racist in my opinion. But that's either here or there. But this is still like sitting on fanatics.com, which is like a little upsetting, but it could be because it's $100.
Yeah. I mean, it
Um,
is. It's five pops, a five
yeah,
pack. The box I think is awesome. Black with the gold, like champions, like it looks awesome. Obviously it's like technically just like a glam shot of it. Like it realistically it
yeah,
may not be the actual one. Like maybe they don't have these made yet, which you would hope that they didn't, because then otherwise they would have to make both, not knowing who's going to win the championship and then announce who wins and destroy all the other ones. Like that wouldn't make any sense. So I'm assuming it's like a concept and they figure it out. But I do find it interesting that they did this with the NBA one. Where last year, like you said, they did the gold one, which is weird. I like this version, like pop. I think it's cool that it's a 5 pack, but like chances are if you win the championship, you have a really good team, right? Obviously the Nuggets have
yeah,
a good team, but clearly technically there was a chance that the Heat could have won, right? Like let's say they were in the championship. Obviously,
yeah,
Nuggets were probably going to win that no matter what. But if the Heat ended up winning, because I saw Pop Savage, I don't know if you know,
yeah,
is a hardcore Heat fan,
yeah,
and he posted something that was really funny and made sense. It was like clearly if the Heat won, like the starting five or the guys they would have made like would have been like nobodies, because besides Jimmy Butler, like their team was made up of a bunch of random guys that you
yeah.
would not have like thought would be in a Funko Pop. So it would have been super random. So I do agree with you that like even though I like that they do that with the team, having the MVP would be make more sense, or have just one, which kind of segueing over, I guess you could say, with the hockey one,
Yeah.
because they also did with hockey. It was kind of like that. It was one singular pop with the
Singular pop
trophy.
with the Stanley Cup, which is sick. It's still cool new box. They did the
Yeah, the
same
box is
thing.
cool.
Even like Funko posted about it. Like they normally don't always post everything on their social when new products come out. Like you would think they would, but like they don't always. And this one they did. I actually pre-ordered this. I feel like I definitely want to start. Like I really wish if the Nuggets one wasn't that 5 pack, I would have gone if it was one player. And I feel like that's a cool collection, even if it's not a team I like, that I would like to start collecting. Like, yes, there you go. That pop's sick.
So what I was just gonna say is that even though they came out with this whole multi-pack thing, whatever, they still came out with a Steph with the trophy. So like we may still see a Jokic one with the trophy, like as an exclusive or as a pop, because um like they could still do that, but it should be the one, like you said, it should be the one that says champion, and it's like the one that and they announce right after, and it's just that one, even if it's a person like you, Steph, which we have a bunch of pops of him. Who cares? It's still a cooler one. It's him with the trophy. You know that it's based off of the. Now make the box different versus this is literally
Yeah.
just him. Make it be like that other box where it's like champions, whatever, and like that's the special one. I think that would be a little bit more likely to sell, because it's not going to be
Yeah.
at a high price point. You're not just going to get not a lot of people like 5 packs in general because they're a
No,
lot bigger, they're more expensive, and you can't just
they
keep
don't
them now.
display as well either.
Yeah, and it's just like as someone who doesn't collect Funko Pops and you're just hardcore fan of the team, maybe it'll be like a one-off thing you could do. But yeah, I agree with it. And then the hockey one was cool because it was in like a cool box and
Yep.
everything. So it's going to be interesting. Like if this is something they'll continue to do with, like will we see that now for baseball? Are we going to see that with football? Going forward. So um, so far they're kind of doing it. So, and we said we wanted to see more of this. Not in
They
the gold
better do
line,
it for
please.
baseball.
Make it more Funko. But yeah, for baseball would be sick. And like that could just be a single. You're not gonna put an entire team, obviously. So just give me like a singular MVP or something like that. But I think that'd be cool.
I feel like we won't. I feel like this Denver Nuggets 5 pack is the last time we see that. I thought it was
Like
a cool like
anything with a championship or like a
no
5 pack.
a 5 pack fully. I bet you they're gonna see it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
They started off, they really wanted to push gold. That didn't work. Like, okay, let's now do Funko. And they're trying to definitely get that collector, in my opinion, to come in to get this.
Hmm.
item, and I don't think it's working, which is unfortunate. But the one single one, like I said, I didn't hesitate by buying the Golden Knights one. Like I got that immediately. Where I'm hoping that this goes on clearance on Fanatics, the
Yeah,
Denver Nuggets one, and then I'll probably get it. But yeah,
yeah,
hopefully they continue.
that would still be cool. Yeah. Um, there was a ton of sports stuff. So like this, not something that we collect. And speaking of basketball and stuff like that, but I did want to just at least mention it. There was a bunch of NBA Slam covers that were announced. I know we've talked about this in the past, but we saw a few. Some were pretty iconic, pretty cool. But now it seems like they're just kind of like coming out with a lot of them. Obviously, they're just coming out with covers and editions that if you were into the Sam Covers magazine, about, but some of them don't really, not really the greatest. One, speaking of Steph, there was a pretty cool one
He's
with him
cool.
with the trophy and doing the whole like sleep. So like that one was cool. Um again, like I'm not a big fan of these overall. They are kind of similar to the comic covers where they're just bigger to take a lot of space. I think they're not necessarily going to sell as much, and they're coming out with a lot of them. So I think it's going to be something that's just going to kind of be overdone. But we did get like a bunch that were announced.
Yeah. And they're even like, I mean, I want your opinion on this. Like I look at one of them, like the Derrick Rose one. Okay.
Hmm.
Like if you're a Bulls fan, do you even want that? I wouldn't now.
Yeah,
I
it
just like
would,
I'm looking like it's like I know these are based off of iconic covers that happened,
of course.
years
Yeah, yeah.
back, but like I wouldn't want that now.
Yeah, and what's funny is I'm glad you brought up Derrick Rose because the Derrick Rose one was the one that I was gonna say is like the one in this whole pack that like could be something that people go after over the other ones only because like the Derrick Rose original pop from the Bulls is like a freaking crazy mega grail. But it's obviously from the old,
Yeah.
like the old LeBron, like those really
Yeah.
plain old Kobe, like those really old ones. And because he was such a big deal back then and Bulls, whatever, but I don't necessarily see it like selling out and becoming like a big deal. It does look pretty cool, obviously, but yeah, it is. eh, I guess it would make more sense with like when they came out to Vince Carter, like that's like a player who has not played for years, and like
Yeah.
you're a fan of him, you're a fan of him. But like Derrick Rose still technically still playing. He just
Plays
recently got like I think
go by
cut
the
or whatever they
Knicks,
did by the
but
Knicks, but yeah, like he's still kind of around, so it is a little weird versus like Steph. It was a championship one. It was more like a special moment, but I don't know. I
yeah.
guess we're kind of picking and choosing on which ones, but overall, it's not like a line that I'm a big fan of. Like I think it looks cool, but I wouldn't collect it.
Yeah, it looks cool, but yeah, for me, I feel like they really should have went the Sports Illustrated route. Like to me, I know Slam is huge within like the basketball community, but I think a little too niche. Where
Mm-hmm.
like if they could have gotten the rights to like Sports Illustrated, like
Wheaties. You said
that's
some Wheaties covers.
yeah, there you go. Like that's like I feel like that's more icon. Like if you were to even talk to an NBA player, if you could be on the cover of a Wheaties box, you could be
Yeah.
on the cover of Sports Illustrated or Slam. Slam would be the last one that they would say they'd want to be on the cover of, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But those that's probably an easier license to get.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was just so much. We also got like new Wednesday pops
Mm-hmm.
finally. Still they're keeping that like a pretty like slim line, which I'm surprised. Like I would have assumed they'd be like, okay, we're making every character possible. They
I like
only
that though. I
I
like
do
it.
too. I think there's an Eden pop, which that's a Funko Shop exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they're also coming off. I don't remember the other girl's name. One of the classmates. She was like
Yeah.
the villain.
There's another one. Yeah.
She's
And then
coming
there's of
out.
course a few Wednesdays. I think the cello one's coming back.
Yes, it's finally being restocked.
Popped up. Yeah.
Um, but we finally like saw some of those pops, which is cool. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious once the show comes back if I feel like they're gonna blow out this line, though eventually like they do Stranger Things, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
It could be, and but I'm glad that they're kind of still playing it right now.
Yeah, me too.
And then if they want to go crazy later, that's fine, because that's a better strategy in my like view of like being a collector, because those three or four that are the original ones will always be the ones that are a little bit better and more sought after.
Yep.
Versus when it's like 12 of a line and they come out with 12 more. So like it continues, it becomes like some of these Marvel lines and these, these movies and stuff where there's just too
Just
many of
too
them.
many.
So I like that it's a little bit like drawn back. Um we had an interesting thing. I wanted to bring this up because it's a new line, I guess you could say. And it's a Blockbuster Rewind. Which I want to know your thoughts, because I think when we were talking like on the side and with Trey and stuff, we were saying like, I think you were a pretty big fan of it, but um I'm kind of like whatever about it. To me, it's just like this is another action figure type of line that they're getting into, very similar to the smaller versions of the golds, where the figure itself looks more like an action figure. It's not really like a Funko Pop. I like the like what they're kind of doing with it, with like it's like a throwback um to like a VHS tape, I guess is kind of
Yep.
like what it is, right? Which is kind of like what we thought the VHS like line when they came out with like the covers was kind of going to be, but it wasn't. Um, but the first one they announced obviously was a Freddy Funko one, and then we did get like at least a leaked list of some names of some potential ones that are going to be coming up, and it's obviously going to be like a bunch of different lines that they're going to kind of go across. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? It's not something I think I'm going to get, but it
I've
is
gone
different and new. So
back and forth. I mean, to me, this is a new version of the soda. I think that's what they're going to go for. It's going to have a chase.
yeah,
Um,
as Chase, true.
and I need to see it. Like, I'll probably try to get that Freddy Funko one. And then if they come out with like, let's just say a Star Wars one or a movie I love, like I definitely want to try the line out. But I don't think I'll be like, okay, there's times I get sodas because I think they look cool, even if I'm not necessarily like a huge fan. Like
Hmm.
I'd get a soda that I would probably never get a Funko Pop in, just because it's fun for the chase. They're
I agree.
smaller. I don't think I would do that with this line, but I also haven't seen them yet. I don't know how big the cases are. There's no way they're going to be the size of like a real VHS old school
Yeah.
case. I don't think.
To me, they look very similar to the smaller versions of the gold, like
I think they're
thin, like
smaller,
even smaller. Okay,
but I
thin, like
could
a
be
little bit of a
wrong.
thin box. Yeah, someone even commented on one of these things, so I guess they're giving up and ditching sodas
I mean, it's
because
kind
of
of
this. If that's the case, I hate it even more, because I do not think these things should replace sodas. If that's like what they end up going into, like, oh, we're gonna start making these and not making sodas, which is kind of scary because we have been seeing a lot less sodas being announced and coming
yep.
out. And I don't know why, because I think they are just a way better product. But again, obviously, like just to kind of run through a little bit of these. So there's supposedly some Lion King ones. There's obviously a lot of Disney. So Lion King, Lady and Tramp. We got some Ninja Turtles, Alice in Wonderland,
There's
Mean
a lot.
Girls. Like it's literally a little bit of everything. Toy Story, Motu, Caddyshack, Dumb and Dumber. So it's obviously classic movies, and shows and stuff. Ghostbusters, Crow even's on there. Huckleberry Hound, 1989 Batman. So
Masters of
there's
the
a lot. So there's
Universe.
a
There's
lot.
a
So
lot.
so I do wonder what this Wizard of Oz, um, what this will look like, because if they do Forrest Gump, that's pretty cool. If they look really good, because based off the Freddy one, it looked a little like easy, like the design. So if it's that for everyone, I don't know if I would go after them. But if it does look good, like you said, I could see myself maybe grabbing one or two of like a movie or a character that I'm like a really, really, really big fan of, but not trying to just collect the whole line. Like with sodas, like you said, I will get stuff that obviously I love. I will get stuff that I think has awesome looking molds, chases, and I will just get one-off ones here and there just because,
Yeah.
I think they look cool or whatever it is. But with this, yeah, I don't see myself doing that. I'm 100% on the same page as you are.
The one thing I do find interesting though is like the Blockbuster tie-in. At first, I thought it was pretty cool and like obviously nostalgic, but then I think like, did it really need to be that for everyone? And that's like the line. I f- it's also interesting. They clearly just, I mean, is Blockbuster even really considered a license anymore? It's kind of funny. I mean, they're not even in
Yeah,
business, but I
yeah,
find it interesting that they just came out. They're coming out with like the ad icon, like the Funko of the like Blockbuster box,
yeah,
and now we're getting these. And like, because you also, one thing I don't think we mentioned, like, you're gonna get like a Blockbuster card in every single one
yeah.
that like tells you, I think, about like the movie, and like where like your picture would have been is a picture of like the figure. I mean, it's once again though, one thing I can continuously say, and I've already said in this episode, like they never stop innovating, even if they fall flat. Like I do love
Yeah.
that about Funko and admire that about them. This could be totally trash and no one wants it, but they gave it a go. They're trying to like, it's hard to believe, but Funko Pops is not the first product of that company. They're looking for the next pop. I
Hmm.
think soda was there, but sodas must be expensive to make
Yeah.
because and the prices keep going up of them. Like the price jump from sodas to like what they change it to for pops is significantly more.
Yeah.
And maybe they do want to phase it out without this because they're no longer those aluminum cans. It's probably going to be like cardboard, just like a Funko Pops. Like I wonder if that's what they're testing.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, the aluminum can, I would assume, especially during all this craziness that happened with like the shortages on stuff, was definitely more expensive than making just a cardboard box. So
Yeah.
I just hope they're not gone. But I mean, we'll see if that's what they do with those. But um
There's
yeah, go
one
ahead.
more new pop though I want to bring up that like I saw a bunch of people excited for was Digimon. And that's like a
Oh
brand
yeah.
new thing that they've never made. It's funny, Pop Savage, speaking of him again, he was super pumped for these. He was kind of like, I haven't been as excited for a Funko Pop in like years. It's just
I mean, that's
funny,
a big.
like,
That was definitely a big thing. Like it's as big as what Pokemon was, and like
yeah,
the fandoms of that. And if you were a fan of that, I was never into Digimon. I don't know much about it, but I know that it was popular. So
agreed. Like I had like the Digimon kind of like I don't I could be wrong here, but like my introduction was that was kind of like a toy, like a Tamagotchi.
mhm.
And then like it is a show with toys. Like
Yeah,
I
sure.
was never into any of that really, but I think it's kind of cool and like it's a new line that they're starting with another like nerdy fandom. So I think that's pretty
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. But I definitely want to get into the NFT rumor list
yeah.
because I know, we're big NFT fans here. There was obviously some more pops that were announced, a bunch of other ones, but like those are pretty much our biggest ones and the ones that we were probably the most
Yeah.
excited for. Um, but let's get into this rumor list. So as those of you that know, whether you listen or watch us, or on any socials, and you've seen and you follow anything with the NFT and the Funko NFTs, we had a list a while ago that kind of dropped, and it was a pretty good list because we started getting those lines. So here and there, we would get another one thrown in the mix, but for the most part, we were getting those that were on that list. We had that like April Fool's line out of nowhere that was on the list. We had most recently the It line. We had the Dark Knight line.
Yeah.
And there was Hanna Barbera too. I think
Two.
was one of the
Yeah.
ones on there as well. We still Adventure Time as well, and now we're just waiting on Rick and Morty and
Powerpuff
Powerpuff
Girls.
Girls. So far, that pretty much means they have all been coming out. So those should
Yeah.
be coming out soon. Who knows if those will be the next or not, but we should see those at some point. But then there have been a couple lists floating around, whether it's on Facebook or on Discords or on Instagram, whatever it is, of this two, four, six, eight, nine different ones. And when me and Charlie saw this, I know we started talking and like I literally, out of the nine, there's eight of them that I would definitely want to get. And there's one I just don't know much about, and that's the only reason why I wouldn't.
Same.
But but we've jokingly talked about it where we've kind of have been in different phases where you were
Yeah.
going hardcore after packs, and I kind of wouldn't want them. And then recently, I've been going after some more, and you've kind of slowed down. If Rick and Morty comes out and the Powerpuff Girls, I'm not gonna really go after those. So like, I know I'll be saving on those. But these right here, like, it's gonna be really hard not to just go hard after these, especially once we see them officially, and if we see the redeemables, and if we, if they are what we hope they are, it's going to be crazy. So we'll just run through these, and then we'll kind of give you our thoughts on, if how excited we are these. But first one is Stranger Things,
Yes.
which you guys already know. We talk about it a lot. We're both very, very big fans of Stranger Things. I'm also a big collector of Stranger Things. I know you have some Stranger Things stuff. So there's enough seasons. I would assume it would, go across the seasons. There's enough characters. We obviously know we have all the kids. We have 11. And then if you go into the new seasons, we have Vecna. We have different, like,
There's even obscure characters with
horror
no Funko
people, and
Pops.
there's a ton, yes, a ton of the obscure characters from different seasons, because there's always like different ones that pop out. And this line would be so awesome, and it would
Yeah.
fit. I feel like the animation would be perfect. I feel like it would totally fit into NFT. I think this would be super smart for them because it's a very popular show, and it would probably be a very, very big sellout, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, completely agree. Um, I think probably one of their bigger ones that they've ever done. And the first thing that I say is like, they got the Netflix license, to give you a little tease of what we're going to keep talking about,
Yeah.
because it also gets me excited with this whole list. We're going to start getting variety, and I'm hoping that the WP licenses worked its course, because not that I don't love stuff, but like it's kind of funny that you bring up, like, we've gone in, waves of who's going hardcore, who's not. It's just like, not that I don't love a ton of things that are being announced, but it's like I'm just honestly getting tired of it only really being their properties.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I'll say the next one on this list that I'm
Mhm.
super pumped for is Back to the Future. So right there, that's Universal. And there's other Universal properties on the list. I think they went out and were like, we now need to include this in all of these license agreements that we can make NFTs. I mean,
Mhm.
Back to the Future. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of pops, but you can totally make super cool niche ones from this
Oh yeah.
too. I mean, this will be a sick one too. Like Makes alluded to earlier, almost every single one of these I feel like could be like the next biggest sellout
Mhm.
that they've had. I mean, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, Back to the Future, amazing. Like you said, obviously getting a Freddy as any of those characters
Anyone.
would be great. There's obviously some obscure side characters, Biff, people like that. Like, they would be awesome as like a
Yes.
legendary or whatever it may be. You got definitely cool. Again, another line that animation wise would look awesome, I'm sure. Like, they would, whether it's lightning coming striking down, whether it's him on the hoverboard, like any of those would look, I'm already picturing it, like what they would look like as a
Yeah.
card, and what they could look like, as like a Funko redeemable. But yeah, that line, amazing. And then going with the third one, going back to, like you said, that license of Netflix, if that's true, this obviously would then fit into that as well. Another massive show, and that's Squid Game. This obviously was one of the biggest shows when it came out. It was one of those ones that broke all these records and everything. And it was only for like a first time one season thing. Obviously, Stranger Things has done that as well, but it's been kind of built over a few seasons. Squid Game, again, bunch of characters, bunch of different. Now, we know that they kind of already have this license when it comes to Funko, because we
Yeah.
have
We know.
sodas, we have pops, we have a ton of pops, right? So like, they really went ham after this. There's even, I think, speaking of the board game thing, I'm pretty sure they make a Squid Game one,
Yeah.
of the
They make
game.
everything. It was part
Um,
of the Fun Days box.
the
Like,
Fun Days ones, we got Freddy already as some of these players in a soda form. So totally makes sense. Totally could fit into this. We have a second season that's going to be coming out. So obviously, depending on, how they do it with that, but if that's one that comes out, one that I definitely would be excited for sure. It's not like number one on the list of some of these, but it's up there because a lot of these are so close to being
yeah.
just almost the same excitement for me. But you can go
Yeah.
with the next one
The
if you want
next
to start
one is
again.
the one that I know both Megs and I don't care about, but
Yeah,
I know it has a fan base. Is Cartoon Network Steven Universe? Hopefully, this is the only WB product on this list, so
yeah,
that's like the last one, and we can move on.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't even. I know.
I know
I
nothing
kind of just
about it.
want to. I want to just jump to the next one because yeah,
Yeah, I
we
know
don't
nothing
even
about that.
know nothing about it. So I'll just say the next one. I mean, no brainer. 25th anniversary of
Hmm.
Funko. Like, bring me Freddy's all day. Even
Yeah,
if, or even if it's other like Funko characters that have been like a big part of the 25th anniversary. Doesn't even just need to be Freddy. It may not be, but I think
yeah.
these are the best ones.
This is one that's like an interesting one because it could be something that's like it doesn't end up being as good as it could be, or it
Yeah.
could be something that's like crazy because it could be anything really. If it's an all Freddy one, I think it would be awesome. Just it may not. It doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest line. It could be a little bit more niche. There's a couple little Freddys here and there, like just different versions of them, whatever it may be, maybe. But if you go with like spanning across like an anniversary of all these different ones, that's where it's interesting because it's like how far do they go with this license? Like do they still stick with
Yeah.
what they've already come out with, because like if we just to give you an example, if we go with the 10 25th anniversary boxes, right, we got a Batman, we got a Joker, we got a lot, so like so it's like do they go that route, like do they say like OG original
Yeah.
ones, or is it more something that kind of ties to the original Funko stuff and bobbleheads, that like who knows? Like
It could be
it could
sick.
be anything. Like that's why this one's like kind of a mystery. Like I'm excited for it, but I can't be as excited for it yet because we have no idea what it would mean like specifically. So that's the one that's kind of like who knows, like out of all of these. But the next one, the next couple are definitely obviously more into like what we would be excited for because we've already seen this one. So Funko Halloween is
Yes.
rumored to come out again. So this would be another season of this, which are series of this, sorry. Which the this
Yeah.
was one of my favorite drops. The last Funko Halloween one, I was able to get a lot of redeemables, which I'm very excited for. I'm still waiting for those. I'm assuming they're obviously going to come around Halloween
We'll get them at
probably.
Halloween. Yeah.
Um, but Freddy as some like the way they did it last year was him basically dressing up, running into a closet, getting out, and like dressing up almost like he's going trick or treating, which I thought was a perfect way of doing it. And it was very kind of like not the most obvious looking outfits. Like there were some characters in there that they had like there's a crab, like ones that you didn't necessarily think
Yeah.
of, but they
Just
were
random
cool. Like
things.
yeah, they
Yeah.
were
They all were
cool.
sick.
But the Reaper one being like one of the biggest ones
Yeah.
that's like so wanted right now, like even the Space Zombie, like there were some really cool ones. So if we get more of those and just different characters, maybe more licensed characters would be cool. Like maybe him
Would
as
be
actual
sick.
people would be really awesome. But even if they did the generic versions, I'm still down always for like a all Freddy drop. We haven't really had like a really, really good one. Obviously, the last one was the April Fools, and it was
Yeah.
a bit of an odd one.
Yes.
We need one of these. And then I know the next one, I know you want to talk about it. So go ahead, because you've talked about this one
A
and we
million
were
times.
pissed that it didn't happen last year.
We
So
are
it should
getting
happen.
a Funko holiday version, which I'm assuming will be identical to the Halloween
Hmm.
one. We'd get all Freddy's, and we can get Christmas, we can get Hanukkah, we can get Kwanzaa, we can just get a winter thing. I mean,
Hmm.
but like, I'm sure it won't
Yeah,
just
a
be
reindeer,
Christmas.
snowman, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but like whatever. Like I mean, this is a no brainer because I will bet you the Halloween one is probably one of their best sellers they've ever had,
yeah. The
and
values on those still are super
or
high. So it definitely
yeah.
was very popular.
So this makes total sense, and I would hope that it becomes like a staple. Like I'm totally cool with having like staple NFT
Yeah.
drops every
Yeah.
year.
A new series. Yeah.
Like I kind of I'm getting to a point where like I prefer those, even though like obviously I'm a huge like IP guy, I have tons of fandoms, but like there's just something about like the Freddy ones I just get a little more excited for.
Yeah, because you don't get them so often. Like even if
Yeah.
it's like a big IP, like if it's Marvel, suddenly we get NFT Marvel, right? But we have so much Marvel stuff, so it's not like we're getting
Yeah.
anything new, Like it just kind of just redundant. So like when we get something fresh and new that like really is original, like it is something that's cooler and more desirable. Like honestly, what's crazy is like I started to think like when I started dumbing down my collection and not going too crazy, like I really was like now I consider myself like an NFT, Funko NFT and a Funko soda collector. Like those are like the two big things.
Yeah.
Regular pops, I'm very one off now. Like I'm very specific on what I get. I'm very like, I don't want to go, I have too many of them. So like these are really cool. They're always something that I feel like, fits for the holiday, just going to what you're saying, super awesome. We said it last year. We're like, we thought they were going to drop one. Like we were very, very convinced that we were going to get one, and we didn't. And it was kind of a letdown because I think it's a
Yeah.
line that would be very cool. Doesn't have to be a big one, but it would be something that I think a lot of people get very excited about. Whether it's more of a generic style one, like you said, or if it actually fits into like
Yeah.
more of characters. But that would be pretty cool. Then we're getting another rumor is we're gonna get Jurassic Park. So
Yeah.
like you said, Universal going back. So if this is true, this is a huge Funko line. We have tons
Yes.
of Jurassic Park stuff. This would make sense. I mean, this would fall into the whole like I don't go crazy after the dinosaurs pops type things, but I'm sure we'll get a dinosaur as a pop. Um, will this be the original? Will this go across from the originals to the new movies? Like, who knows? It could expand,
Which would
or
be
they could
cool.
spread it up and have multiple series because
Series.
they like
Yeah.
doing that. But getting a Freddy Funko as one of those characters or Freddy Funko into that world, that would be awesome. Like we need that. So I would hope they would do that and not make a dinosaur the Grail, like freaking House of Dragon, which I still hate that they didn't do like a Freddy as someone. Like I think every drop should have at least one Freddy as a royalty. Like I don't like when it's not a Freddy. But yeah, Jurassic Park. I know you're a fan, so
Yeah. I mean,
another one that would just be awesome.
totally sick. And it's funny. I completely agree with you about like every drop should have a Freddy. I'm assuming Game of Thrones just must not be allowed to. But one thing I want to bring up too,
Oh
which
yeah, because both of them did that.
both of
Game of
them
Thrones
did it.
and House of Dragon. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
there's got to be a reason. And even the Freddy that's in like the cards is him just wearing clothes.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
at an
super
event or
weird.
whatever. Yeah.
But I wanted to bring back the sodas to the NFTs. Like people
Yeah.
forget there
We
was
only have like two of them.
we had two. We have the original Halloween, which is crazy. That'll always hold a special place in my heart. I pulled that
Yeah.
on my first one
First
ever. And I'm
one.
like, oh my God, it's possible to get redeemables. And then the Scooby Doo one, which is
Yeah, yeah.
a while ago, like that also is like, are they just stopping? Like they don't want to make sodas. Like
I know. It's been a while though.
it's
So it could
weird,
be.
but Jurassic Park will be amazing. But this last one, I'm super pumped for, which is also opens up a whole possibilities of IPs. Is we're getting Mickey and Friends. So it'll be the first ever Disney, which means we will get Star Wars, we will get Marvel, but like I'm hoping like this is like the Disney pops I've always wanted. That I'm like they make these obscure characters and sodas, or like we'll get fun, like that's probably what they'll do for this line. But I'm totally cool with it, and I'm curious if like they're gonna. Who knows when these will come out? But will they try to hit the Disney 100? Just like Jurassic Park right now, we're in the middle of an anniversary. Like is maybe they're trying to pump some of that up, but like the Disney one just has tons of possibilities. Having Freddy as like Mickey or something would just be super sick.
Or even
I
Freddy as Bolt.
Walt, you're right. I would just that's the one I'm probably the most excited for out of all of
Yeah.
these that aren't
That's
like
also the
Freddy
one
ones.
that could be massive or it could be very niche. You could have
Yep.
multiple series. Obviously, there's tons of characters. This one, obviously, to me, seems like it's more of the OG, the very
Yeah.
classic people. You're getting actual Mickey and like actual people here, and the five and like the rest of them. Like that's about it. That's what I would think it would be.
Yeah.
But having that ability and that license would obviously potentially open up Star Wars, like you said, which we have also seen rumors and pictures
We
that there's
have.
pop digital Star Wars coming. We've had that for a while. I
Yeah.
know Star Wars is the funny one because Star Wars is always the one that there's always like a year of build up and then it comes out because the same thing happened with sodas. Like a year, it was like they're gonna come out with sodas, they're gonna do it. Here it is, little by little, and then eventually they came out with them. So like maybe that's what's happening with the digital stuff here. But Marvel, obviously, we have DC already, so like it would only make sense to get the Marvel side of things. which would open up obviously a huge floodgate of fans and stuff. But Mickey and Friends, I think, would be one of the ones that would be pretty sick, especially if they really hit it with like some nostalgic stuff that like
Yeah.
would really fit into like awesome fandom. But yeah, these lines from all of these, like honestly, would that be your number one, the Mickey and Friends out of this whole list?
I
Or
think the
most wanted, maybe?
I think the Holiday Freddy would actually be.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
I just because it's hard. I mean, I just look at like I look at that line and I'm like, what are they gonna make it to make it
Yeah.
like super original?
Yeah.
Where like I know we're just gonna like we don't even have a Freddy Funko as Santa Claus. Like,
Yeah.
how does that not exist?
It's
Like
true.
I just feel like there's a lot of I feel like if it wasn't for how awesome the Halloween ones are, like they just hit it out of the park with both of those lines. There's just so much potential. My very close second though would be the Mickey and Friends, and then like I said, it just I know then that's gonna open up a floodgate of like stuff I'm gonna want for
Yeah.
better or worse. How
Yeah,
about you?
that's what's crazy. Um, yeah, I'm kind of like back and forth because the Mickey and Friends, if they really make it like a real classic, one, I think that it wouldn't necessarily be my one, but it's like up there. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of like Halloween and that kind of thing. So but it's not like that hasn't happened already. So if it's
Yeah,
just another series, it's like it kind of gets a little notched down. I'm very excited for the Stranger Things. I think the Stranger Things line would be one of my top ones, and the Holiday would be up there too. So I think like it would be a mix of those three or four, like pretty much all around the same. The rest pretty much are like ones I would really want, but I would rather, like the original stuff, like the Halloween and the Holiday. Stranger Things would be the biggest IP type of thing that I would be a fan of, and then the Mickey and Friends. But because it's like, what does that mean? Like
exactly.
if we see it, it may be like the one that are like, wow, that's sick.
And I do
So
think the sleeper of the list is the 25th anniversary because
exactly, that's one we don't know anything about though. So
yeah,
it's very hard to like
because I think
say.
like what if they take like all of the first characters they made in Funko Pops and made them all Freddy's, for example.
Mhm.
Like I
Which
know
is like
this
kind of what they did with that like vaulted thing, like
exactly.
somewhat. So
So that one has a lot of potential. I just think this league list, I do. I mean, we probably wouldn't talk about it if we didn't believe it. Like I do think this is real, and I think this league list has so much more potential than the like what we've been getting.
yeah,
Besides, like for me, like
overall,
overall, I mean, there's been some pretty fire drops, but like this, I think is gonna as weird as this may sound, right now NFTs for Funko, I think, are their hottest product. I think this is going to bring it to a whole new level.
yeah, we've talked about this before too. It's easily got to be the biggest profit that they get
Yeah,
to from like putting out a digital thing and getting $30 a pop. Like it's crazy, but it's going to be interesting. And like we already just passed a week where we didn't get an announcement. I thought we were going to get one this past Friday and we didn't. So hopefully we get an announcement this week.
yeah,
It's probably going to be one of those of the two that are
yeah,
missing, but who knows if we get a one-off one thrown in there, maybe another series two of something else. Like it's kind of you never know what it's going to be. Um, I'm not like I said, I'm not so excited for the next two if those are the ones that are going to be coming out, but it's going to be interesting to see if we start getting some stuff from this line. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I want to know what everybody else thinks too, like what your favorites are, or if you're excited for any of these on this list. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff that we talked about today. There's
a
a
ton.
lot of stuff that is, and again, some of the stuff's on pre-order, some of the stuff's going to be coming soon, some of the stuff is out already. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of
all
like a
over the
mixture.
place.
Yeah, it's a big mixture of stuff. So definitely check it out. I was actually before we got on and recorded, I was going through the Funko site, and if you go to the coming soon section, a ton of these pops that we're talking about that were like
Are
on this
there?
licensing thing are there on the like notify me now. So, and that's where I was able to kind of see a little bit more of exactly who's coming out for what. Like all the sports ones are on there, a bunch of the music ones are on there. The albums and stuff are all on there. So you can obviously go in there and do notify me and you'll get emailed when they actually do drop. but yeah, that's gonna be it. It was obviously jam-packed
A
episode,
lot.
tons of stuff. It was a little while since we had recorded, so a lot of stuff got announced. But like always, Charlie will let you guys know where to follow us. Make sure you're liking this video. Really appreciate all the support on both the podcast and over here on YouTube if you're watching as well.
Yeah, like we said, if you're listening on podcast platforms, thank you. And make sure you know you're following us over there. And if you're on Spotify, please interact with us over there. It's another way just to we put up polls, questions, and we just love to see what you guys are all thinking. And then obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, please, if you haven't already, like I know some people do watch our stuff and like they don't think like some people don't subscribe, but if you could just subscribe and like this video, like it really, really will help us and push out this podcast. And obviously hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And please comment. Like we never don't answer a comment. And
Mhm.
we've met people just from the comment section that we really enjoy seeing your names pop up and we have conversation, so that's amazing. And also you can both find us on Instagram at collector chatter and then at pop_migs and at collector underscore charlie. And once again, just we want to thank everyone for your continued support, and until the next episode, later everyone, and collecting is the way.
Bye, everybody.